Hi guys, this is RangerRob from the RangerRob Country Living channel, and today I'd like to talk about the 5 top reasons why Sherry and I chose to use hydroponics in our garden instead of conventional gardening. Last year we were planning out our property. We were laying out a regular garden, and somehow we stumbled into watching folks doing hydroponics. Well, long story short, it's like, that looks like a little easier way for us to grow food at our age without really having to work the property so much, because our dirt is a low quality soil. And we were looking at thousands of dollars of amendments to get our garden to the standard we want it to be. So we stumbled upon hydroponics. And we found out there are several ways to do hydroponics. The Dutch bucket system, the floating rafts, the NFT systems, and also what we use here is towers. We have strawberry towers that uses NFT but does not have a return system. And so I want to talk about the 5 reasons why we liked the choice we made. Number 1 is the build. Building hydroponics, for some folks, may not enjoy, but I enjoyed the fact of kind of doing my own engineering. Now, these are the Dutch bucket systems, and they're amazing. So what we had to do in this whole greenhouse was create a return system, or a place where all our water could go to fall into a tank that's up above here. So the Dutch bucket systems basically get have an input that is actually from a pipe that's behind all these Dutch buckets, and so we pump water or nutrients into the tomatoes here, and they run 4 times a day. So 4 times a day for about 15 minutes, these plants get nutrients. Well, of course, when you're learning something new, you've got to find out, what are you going to put in these buckets? So we chose to use perlite, because one of the problems with tomatoes is they're susceptible to all kinds of problems. One of them is root rot. So we wanted a medium that drained really well. So perlite doesn't hold water. So that also means that our tomatoes get lots of oxygen. So when you're setting one of these things, one of the things we learned about hydroponics is your plants will tell you what's wrong. If your plant's yellow, or if your plant's leaves curl a little bit, or they get droopy, or start showing rot, your plant's telling you something. And so when we first started, one of the things we found was our plants were a little droopy. Turns out we were watering too much. That's when I realized that we had to do it in intervals, and so we chose 4 times a day and tried that out, and every plant came to life. So it was quite interesting. Now, we've had failures too, but the important thing is having fun doing the build. Dutch buckets were amazing. The floating rafts were really fun to make. They're basically little bathtubs with a floating raft on the top. Everything uses nutrients. So that's one of the main reasons why we enjoyed the engineering, because no design has to be the same. It doesn't have to look like this. It doesn't have to look like our floating rafts. You can do it any way you want, as long as it functions properly. Probably one of my funnest builds was doing the NFT system. Our first one was one with a trellis, and it's low to the ground. Now, at our age, we also didn't want anything really low, but we wanted enough room for our plants to grow up the trellis. And so we made a trellis with a double NFT system. NFT is like nutrient film transfer, which basically all it is, I'll just put it in layman's term, a little river of nutrients, and at the front of both of these NFTs is just a tank, and the water is just recycling. And so the biggest thing you got to watch for is making sure your tanks don't run dry, making sure that your nutrients are blended properly, and finding out how do you want to mount your plants onto the NFT. And you don't have to use round pipes. You can use square gutters. You can use fence post ends, 4x4s made of plastic. I've seen all kinds of stuff. Once again, you don't have to do it like we did. You can do it any way that fits your property, fits your porch, fits your apartment, whatever you want to do. And once again, number one reason, which is not in my list, is not the top ones, but the main thing was the build was a lot of fun, and you will enjoy, if you enjoy building things and being clever, thinking things through, having a few fails, then you'll enjoy building your own NFT system or Dutch bucket system or tower system we have back here. Number two is the fast growth of anything that we've put in NFT. Everything grows lush, everything grows fast, and they're just beautiful. And I've found, maybe because they're getting all the nutrients they need, and especially being outside, getting all the light they need, every plant I've put in my NFT has flourished. If they haven't flourished, it's because I either made a mistake of how I mounted them, or I put them outside too soon because of the temperatures. But number two is just the fact that everything is growing so well and so fast that even a gardener like me that isn't really much of a gardener, the success is amazing. Number three is hydroponics can be done anywhere, indoors or outdoors, or half in, half between. You can do things outside under cover. You can do things in a greenhouse. You can do hydroponics in your house, your porch, your closet, your spare bedroom, almost anywhere. So what I really urge people to do in hydroponics is we all need to start growing our own food. And so this takes the excuse away that I don't have a place to plant a garden. I don't have the room. Some say they just don't have the space. Yet there's so many ways to do hydroponics. So like I said with the engineering on this one, these can be put on a porch. They can be put on a tank and literally cycle the water through to a tank. And the only thing you would have to watch is to make sure your tank doesn't run dry, because of course your plants are going to take some of the nutrients, and evaporation could be a cause for losing water. So the only responsibility you would have after you've planted whatever you want to grow is to just check and see if you got enough water in your tank once a week. That's all there is to it. But the fact is you can do this anywhere. And so that's what we're trying to show people here. Even though we're doing it in a large space, everything I've shown you here can be condensed into smaller systems, into fitting. You can put 2 of these towers on a porch in your apartment, no problem, as long as you have a little bit of sunlight and you're not in trouble with your landlord. So yeah, you can do hydroponics almost anywhere. Number 4, to me, is pretty important. One of the other reasons why we went with hydroponics, a greenhouse, floating rafts, the Dutch buckets, is less pest pressure. I have very little problems with any pests. I did have some problems with aphids during the starting part of these plants. But aphids, if controlled right, can be taken care of very easily. But I don't have trouble with, so far, any particular pests so far getting into my plants, which is kind of nice. When you go to pick your plants, the last thing you want to do is worry about bugs being in them or damage. But my everything, you get to see your full leaves. You don't see little things chewing holes in all your leaves. Not that you're not going to have trouble. Being outside, of course, you've got all kinds of predators. You've got insects, you've got birds, you've got dogs. My dogs are probably my worst predator on all my plants. But the thing is birds can be a real problem with the strawberry towers I showed you earlier. So I have to kind of keep an eye on that. When I start producing a lot of strawberries, I may have to put some bird netting over my over my plants. So anyway, less pests, less problems. Number 5. This is my top number of reasons why I like hydroponics, is it uses less water. Both of these systems that you've been seeing with the NFT use 38-gallon tanks. I very rarely have to top them off, but you do have to top them off. You will lose, of course, to the plants taking some of your nutrients, evaporation, or a leak. So anyway, but the thing is, in this day and age, with the problems that we're having with our reservoirs, droughts, the whole works, if you want a practical way to raise lots of food and use very little water, then you'll want to use hydroponics. The floating raft, to me, is the one that uses the least amount of water. You can use a Krakey system where you don't even have to have, you can have just stagnant water and actually grow just fine. Dutch bucket systems use very little water. I only have to top them off when I have real thirsty tomatoes. So, number 1 reason for hydroponics for us is less water, which is not a problem with us. We don't have to really practice that as much as you would down south, because we have our own well and we have plenty of water. But still, that doesn't give me the right to just use up water like crazy. I use more water on my conventional plants or corn, things like that, than I do on my NFT systems or on my raft system or Dutch buckets or towers. The towers probably use the most water because I don't recycle that water because of the design. But I use 38 gallons of water every 4 days, which is really a small amount of water compared to conventional gardens. So to wrap this up, I just wanted to go through my top 5 reasons why I like hydroponics. What I try to do in this channel is to inspire people to try. The way that we do ours is not necessarily the way you should do yours. But the things here that we told you about that really make sense, less pests, less water, fun to build, can be used indoors, outdoors, any way you want. It's simple. The vast growth of everything we've got in this greenhouse is amazing. Everything outside is amazing. The strawberries are amazing. And a year ago, 2 years ago, I was a struggling gardener. So I hope we've inspired you to try hydroponics. I urge you to go find some channels that do more technical than we do, that show you the different ways of doing hydroponics. If you want something simple, something easy in your house, your apartment, there's systems for everybody. If you want something elaborate, or you want to do something in a greenhouse, we're showing you how we did ours, but you can get more technical videos out there to show you exactly how to build whatever system you choose. So I hope you enjoyed our video today. I hope you're inspired. But please take the time to like, subscribe, and share our videos all over the whole wide world. We'd appreciate it. And guys, thank you for watching. Bye now.
Our videos are made possible by RangerRob Poopy Bags, available at Amazon right now. Thank you very much for watching our video. Please take the time to like, subscribe, and share our videos all over the whole wide world. Thanks.